What if I told you that reaching $10,000 in monthly land income isn't about secret strategies or insider connections, but instead follows a predictable mathematical formula that anyone can replicate? There's a straightforward path to land investing success that boils down to simple numbers. Send 1,000 mailers, get a 3 to 5% response rate, convert 10 to 15% of those into purchases, and sell those properties for 300% returns, or create notes paying $200 to $500 per month. And in today's episode, we are breaking down this entire process into a dirt simple roadmap and showing you exactly how many deals it takes to hit that $10,000 monthly milestone, including real examples from students who've done it in under 12 months. Whether you're struggling to see how the math works in your current real estate strategy, or you're just looking for a clear, no-nonsense path to creating significant passive income, these land investing numbers don't lie. It's Nightcap, fellas.
Cheers.
It's Nightcap. Cheers.
Cheers.
Scott, you had me worried. You disappeared there.
I was a little worried myself. I don't know what happened, but I'm back. I'm just glad you guys were not also banished at the same time.
Yeah. So on today's Nightcap podcast, Art of Passive Income podcast, I am joined by none other than John Burnett, otherwise known as Handsome Rob. John,
Mark,
how are you?
I'm doing great. I'm sipping some Evan Williams Barrel Proof. It's great.
Ooh, nice.
It's the good Evan Williams. There's a lot of not good Evan Williams. This is the good Evan Williams.
There's like variations of Evan Williams?
There is. Yeah. It's kind of the bottom shelf whiskey. But this is the nice bottom shelf whiskey.
Oh, that's
it's
good
over on
stuff,
the right
John.
side.
That's good
Okay.
stuff.
I mean, do you think Evan Williams looks down on Jim Beam? Like, is there like a thing between those two names?
Oh, there's things between all the bourbon people down there in Kentucky. They all think they're the best. So
okay, that could be a whole Nightcap episode. Is just bourbon.
For sure. We need to get Eric Peterson and Landon on here.
Absolutely,
and Zano.
Yeah, but well. If you don't know who the guy is in the hat and the grit shirt, it's Dude Buddy, the Nightcap OG, Scott Bossman. Scott, how are things in Alaska?
Things are great. I'm a little nervous though tonight. Like Mike Zano says, there are 3 kinds of mathematicians: those that can add and those that can't.
Yeah.
And you're expecting me to do math tonight on this call? I'm a little nervous.
We're not doing a whole lot of math. We're gonna do simple math.
Okay. All right.
We don't want to lose listeners either. Or watchers, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Right. They have their eyes glazed over. And then you just, you carry the one.
Get my whiteboard out here.
Whiteboarding it. So let's do some math though. Right. How we have examples, like recent examples I did with podcast interviews with Kim Sumner. She got to $10,000 a month in passive income in less than 12 months. Tryon Quinn-Vu, $10,000 a month in less than 12 months. We typically say, maybe they're outliers, right? I would say it's more realistic if your head's down in this business, it's 18 months. What do you guys think about that?
I would agree. I think heads down. I think we're 2 times better than we were 10 years ago. I think 10 years ago it was kind of, the pie in the sky goal was to get to 10 grand in 3 years, and now people are blowing that out of the water. So I think 18 to 24 months is very realistic.
Right. And by the way, does it even matter?
Not really.
Technically speaking, because that time's happening either way. Like, you're going to have $10,000 a month, you won't.
Yeah,
so you might as well do something to get there.
Well, and I mean, if you're having a conversation with somebody and you say, "Hey, you're going to be upset if you hit $10,000 a month passive income in 2 years rather than 1 year?" I mean, come on.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's like that. But when's the best time to plant a tree?
Yeah.
Right.
10 years ago.
Second best time's today.
Yeah.
But if you plant the tree today, you're gonna have a tree.
Mm-hmm.
And in this case, you'll have a nice passive income money tree
Mm.
if you do the work.
Exactly.
So let's break down how that works and what people need to do, so that they have a sort of like this roadmap, and we really set the expectations pretty clearly. So, John, we'll start with you because
Okay.
you've what do you think is sort of the mathematical equation to get to $10,000 a month in passive?
Yeah. So I would say, in terms of the mathematical equation, I guess I'll cheat a little bit here and give you kind of my thoughts with regards to kind of the time side of things as well when it comes to hitting that 10K. So on the math side, like we will dig into that as far as like the amount that you'll need to invest in order to get that amount of monthly recurring. I think the other thing that's really important is just focusing on the right things. Like it's so easy to get distracted, focus here or focus there. But I think it's important to keep your nose to the grindstone. And with the limited time that you have to build your business, it's important that you're focusing that time on the right elements, right? Like the thing that Scott Todd, greater Scott, the thing
Much
that he
greater.
kept, yeah.
Much greater.
The thing that he like kept on beating into our heads when Val and I went through flight school was mailing and marketing, right? You just got to do it over and over and over again. And the people that I see hitting that number, there's a persistence requirement, and if you want to hit it fast, then you kind of have to react, right? Like you gotta like, oh, my marketing's not working. Like, what do I do now? What do I do? Like you're constantly reacting, pivoting, and putting your attention on the most important thing. So I think it's important to focus on the right things. And then in terms of in terms of the amount of money to invest, like when I jumped in, I would buy a property for $1,000 and I'd sell that same property for about $100 a month. And that was kind of my rough equation. I'd be like, all right, how much did I pay? Divided by 10, right? Now, if you do that math, right, then if you want to get to 10,000, then for me, that would have been $100,000 in property acquired would equal 10,000 in monthly recurring. And then, but at the same time, like, you hit roadblocks, you're like, oh, I don't like, I'm selling well, but I want to be able to invest more in property acquisition. And so I would just get creative. I just wanted to maintain my momentum. I wanted to keep going. And so like, I did a lot of land arb. I've done some investor split deals and stuff like that. So to utilize that $100,000, it doesn't have to be all your capital, right? There are ways to get creative and build irregardless of your funding status.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Scott, did your eyes glaze over on that math? I feel like Zato should have been taking
Yeah,
notes.
I know.
He's like dividing. It's like, wait,
I think
1,000 divided by 100.
cheers. See you next week. John covered it all. We got it all covered. No,
Thank you all.
I think
great. It was a great episode.
Yeah, I mean it's honestly simple math. You need if you're selling properties at $100 a month, you need 100 properties. If you're selling properties at $200 a month, you need 50 properties, right?
Right. And by the way, not to cut you off mid thought,
Yeah.
but I'm going to.
Please.
I think that's a really great place to start. Is just 50 properties. That's one a week. I'm going to take 2 weeks off, and that gets me to $10,000 a month. And it gives me enough variability, right? Because now I know, well, if I'm going to give myself 6 months learning curve, and then in 18 months, I'm there. And to John's point, in between, as I'm getting my reps in and I'm building my confidence, I'm doing deals, I'm creating this track record, and I can go out to an investor like you, Scott Bossman, who has way more money than time, and you're just like, here, I'll fund you. And now you got your 100 grand, to go out and do deals. Okay, but go ahead. I'm sorry I cut you off.
No, it's okay. It's absolutely fine. I think that for some people hearing this, they may think that's a little bit daunting, right? Well, if I need to sell 50 properties and I'm selling them at $200 a pop, that's like looking at the average type of properties most of us are buying, $5,000 and less. Like, how many of those properties do you need, and how much capital am I going to need to outlay in order to get to those numbers? But you don't need that much, right? You don't need $100,000. You don't need $200,000 to do that. Actually, you can get investor funds to do that, to buy all the land that way. But there are other ways to create passive income. You can land arb. We had a gentleman go. I don't know if you remember this, Mark. We had a gentleman go through our flight school training a few years ago, and he actually didn't have a lot of money. So the recommendation to him was to buy, 5 to 10 properties land arb. And I think he bought 10. So he bought 10 land arb properties at $100 a month, but then he sold them all in 4 months and doubled that. He sold them all for $200 a month. Right.
So he's making the spread of $100 a month, and he doesn't even have to come off the money. He just has to come up with the $100 to control the property.
At 4 months, he's at $1,000 a month passive income, and he's hardly any money invested into the deal. So he didn't need 100. He didn't need 10 grand or 20 grand to get started on those properties. So you have investor funding, you have land arb. You have selling the note. If John sells a property for $200 a month to somebody, he can sell the partial note or the whole note to infuse more cash back into the business. So, you just don't need 100 grand to start. I think you could start with 10 grand, 5 grand, 2 grand, like that gentleman did a few years ago, and just get the momentum going and start doing deals.
Yeah. I mean, and think about that. Like, as far as other real estate niches, that sounds insane. Insane, right? Like in Phoenix, a house to generate $200 a month in passive income.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably a fixer-upper, and I'm buying it at 30 grand in the hood, and I'm putting 20 grand in, and then after financing and hard money loans and all the rigmarole and the paying the contractors and the real estate fees and all that, maybe I'm netting $200 a month, and then I'm going to bed every night praying the tenant doesn't call.
Well, but the $200 a month, Mark, that you're netting needs to go into an emergency fund for any pending emergency that's going to happen. So I think you're exactly right. I think it's getting harder and harder and harder to cash flow from single family homes and duplexes. I had a friend that did duplexes for a really long time, and it was tough. And they were dealing with emergencies all the time. House fires and furnace problems and AC problems. They had to go to court. We just don't have to do that.
Yeah. I mean, your top operator. They're doing this full time. They're not W-2 side hustle. They're maybe yielding 16% on their money a year.
Right.
Maybe 12%.
What are you yielding, Mark Podolsky?
I mean,
Look at him. He gets
He's getting red.
He gets sheepish.
Are we live? It's a lot more than that. A lot more. Yeah. I mean, we try to average 72%. So that means we're doubling our money every year, which sounds insane. I actually don't think that should be, if you're starting out, your goal, right? With big margins, it's an inefficient market in a sense. Like, you're not going to go on Zillow and find out the comps, which is also part of the math. So, I'm always going to look sheepish about saying like what we can do, because I don't want you to think, well, that should be the expectation. But I can tell you it's better than 30%, right? Yield. I don't know. John, what are you at?
Yeah.
Where am I at?
Now you're getting sheepish. I know.
I mean, I've gotten some pretty fantastic returns on some of these deals. Like,
Yeah.
especially lately, I've gotten some defaults this year that have turned, and those have been the really, really, really big ones, you know. But
Well, and that's the thing is
Yeah.
like it's hard when you calculate the defaults. The
Yeah.
returns are just insane because now somebody's lowered our cost basis. We keep doing it, and there's another default, and we keep doing it, and just return our ROI just keeps going higher and higher. It's kind of a nutty niche in that
it's a
way.
nutty niche.
It's
It's
a
a fun
nutty
thing to
niche.
say. It's a nutty
Yeah.
niche. I want that on a T-shirt. Scott's got grit. I want nutty niche.
Nutty ditch.
Yeah, yeah,
I like that.
but you know, it's the math is there. The math is there. So if we break it down and we say we're going to send out 30 offers a day and we get to 100 offers, we're getting a 3 to 5% response rate. That means 3 to 5% of people are responding to our offer and accepting it. We go through due diligence, and let's just be conservative, say we close 1%. So for every 100 offers, we're getting one deal. And in that one deal, then we're cash flowing at just say $100 to $200 a month. Then we need to get 100 to 50 deals in some time period to get to $10,000 a month. And then, let's just use easy math. Let's just say it's $1 an offer letter, right? So $30 a day is going to be your mailing costs. And then, I don't know, what do you think your overhead is? Virtually, I mean, as you scale your land business, you got to have software. But,
Yeah, I think it's one of the
is
best.
actually a profit center, so that doesn't really cost you anything.
Yeah,
You
I
make
think it's
money
one of the
on that.
best businesses though, Mark. When you look at operating expenses compared to revenue you're bringing in, because
Right.
you can keep this at $1,000. You can keep your operating expenses at $1,000
Right.
for the first year of the business, right? What if your operating expenses end up being 20% of your revenue, but then you take care of that with 1 or 2 cash deals a month, right? You wipe
Right.
out those operating expenses with cash deals.
Mm.
Yeah,
So.
it's crazy. It's crazy. So you got a business that you don't need a lot of money to start. You have low fixed overhead. You have almost no competition in the sense that there's billions of acres of land for sale and all these little niches within the niches in raw land. I don't know. I think it's the best passive income model. But I'd be open to you, dear viewer. What do you think? Let us know. Engage. Put in the comment.
Please engage all of our
Please
hundreds
engage.
of viewers.
Our million
Thousands.
viewers. Yeah. Exactly.
You often hear that saying. You hear the saying, "The math ain't mathin'," right? Well, the math is mathin' with this.
The math is
That's
mathing.
gonna be my T-shirt. The math is mathin'.
Math is
Yeah.
mathing.
Exactly. The math is mathing.
Uh,
I think was that Tony Robbins line? I love numbers and numbers love me.
Yeah.
Yeah. It seems so far away right now for me, but yeah, for sure. Is that I think it's that Devin Ruiz? Is it
Darren? I think.
Is it Darren or yeah, Darren?
Yeah.
Sorry, Darren or Devin. I think it's Darren.
Darren, you got
We got Ruiz right.
It's Darren.
Yeah.
Trust me.
Yeah. But it's interesting, like that great Dan Sullivan, Ben Hardy book, The Gap in the Game, right?
Mm.
So Darren's looking at the gap, right? The gap's the horizon. It looks like it's so far away. But when you're in the business and you're doing it every day, you go into the game, you just see how far you've come. It's like, oh, I started here, now I'm here. And I've got, $1,000 a month in passive income. I've done 5 deals. So yeah, like let's celebrate that, not the horizon, which seems so far away. It's like, oh, well, I'm $9,000 a month away from that goal. I mean, you've got to celebrate the milestones of what you're doing. And of course, it's easy for me to say because I probably live in the gap about 3 times a day. Honestly, it's like,
Yeah.
but it's
We
true. I
can't
mean,
all live
but
in
it's
the
a
game
good
all the time.
reminder.
Yeah,
What's that?
for sure.
Yeah.
We can't all live in the game all the time.
No, you can't. I mean, it's hard. I don't think we're wired to live in the game.
I think John does.
John,
see
do you live in the game?
I don't know. I just live. That's great.
I just live. Look at him.
You
He's
just
just
live. Look at him.
just in the
amazing.
present every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
I think though too, like we've talked about this so many times. If you can just try to take your emotion out of it a little bit and just be consistent, like John says, and just do what you have to do in this business, these golden nuggets are going to come, right?
Right.
The consistency brings results, and every once in a while, the consistency is going to bring a really amazing result, right? You're gonna buy a property for 1,000, and you're gonna sell it for 1,000 down, 200 a month for 5 years, right? Or you're going to buy you're going to come into a bulk deal. How many people have we seen do that, Mark, where they come into the opportunity to buy 50 properties and they can wholesale them all right away and make 50 grand,
Right. Yeah.
or more. Yeah.
No, 100%. And it's interesting. I was reading this this article today on LinkedIn about a guy who's like one of the top traders ever. He took like $5,000 and made like $5 million, and something crazy. And he's like, this like legendary trader, and he broke it down, and he wrote even a song about it. Like, he's like very simple 6 principles to be a great trader, but at the core of it was just staying emotionally sound. And he would say that he would see people who would make money and then they would literally sabotage themselves. And his guess was that they were doing it because they were getting something from it. Like they were more comfortable in sabotage. And so I think it's interesting when I read that, like, oh my gosh, I can see that in my own life where emotionally I feel uncomfortable and I'll end up maybe sabotaging myself where, I need to have an important conversation and I just procrastinate it. And then it gets bigger and bigger and then it gets worse and it like blows up and it's just terrible. Right. But in business, oftentimes, we'll see people who will start the land business and it's like, they'll come into it just to prove to us that it works for everyone but them. And then they get to be like the victim. And they're like more comfortable in that space. And I think psychologically, it's kind of an interesting thing to see where there's other people that they're like, I'm just going to be successful. And have just tremendous confidence and no roadblock is getting in their way. And they get there. Like, like a Stephanie Dean, she quit her job in 5 months. Like, it was insane. She's like, I just have total belief.
Yeah.
That was a great podcast with her. So it's interesting how some people it's just a mental game.
I think like one book that I've read that's had a big impact on me is Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink.
Yeah.
Which is the idea that like when something's going wrong, like regardless of whether or not it's your fault, you take ownership of it, right? You're like, this is mine, right? But it's so easy when things are hard because you go through dips in this business, right? You send out a mailer and it doesn't click and you're waiting for those responses to come back. You are marketing and the lead flow isn't coming that you expect. And it's so easy to just externalize that, right? And just say, well, it's because of all of these external factors, instead of just taking ownership and say, what do I need to pivot? What do I need to change to make this happen? And I mean, that's one big thing. Like when you think about the people who hit it in 12 months, like those are the people I see like they're not making excuses. They're just like, what do we do now? What do we do now? What do we do now? Right? And so they're just taking a ton of action.
Yeah, I love that. And I love those Jocko Willink podcasts. And he's like, it's got that deep voice, and he's just the most intimidating human on the planet. Right. And it's like, this happened, that happened, good.
Yeah,
right.
Good.
Like, good.
That's something I say to myself all the time. Like, today something went wrong, and I'm just like, good. Like,
good.
It's
Finally.
good. Yeah.
The universe is challenging me. Good. Yeah, but it's true. I mean, it is mental. Like, if that's your attitude, you take extreme ownership. You don't blame the market. You don't blame, this. You don't say, oh, Bossman in his grit shirt, whatever. Right? You just like, I'm going to do what I need to do, because clearly, if these jokers can do it, I can do it. You're just like, all right, I'll figure it out. Here, Scott, what's Jared Bell say?
Well, speaking of consistency, I want to give a shout out to Jared, because I'm on Facebook a lot for whatever reason, and like, his ads are everywhere. He's everywhere. He's posting ads on his land, and they're so creative and they're so attention getting, and like, he's holding for sale signs up with his face mark in front of his land, and I just have to, like, and he says here that he was in a slump for a couple months, right? But he just kept pushing through and marketing relentlessly. And because he's marketed relentlessly now, which I doubt had traction initially, right? Takes a while to gain the traction. Now he's being overwhelmed by responses to ads. So it's been pretty neat to see. Jared, I've watched, man. I see all these ads. I'm liking them. Like, it's there's a lot of good stuff going on there, which is pretty cool.
Jared Bell, that's amazing. If I wasn't locked out of my Facebook account, I'd like your ads too. I got a new iPhone. Like the Google.
You're still locked out? It's been like 4 years.
I've been out. Yeah. I can't get a hold of them. Like, every time I think I get close, they're like, that page just has technical problems. There's no one to contact. If anyone's listening to this from Facebook, can you help me get my account back on? Like, my team's in there. Like, we have ads. I personally just can't get on. So, Jared,
oh my gosh,
I would definitely like all your posts.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Oh, Dan Ruiz, I got tickets to the November Summit. See you in Texas, the Dirt Ridge Summit. Let's go. We're going to be in Austin, Texas. It's going to be an amazing, amazing event. And it's capped at 250 people. So if you haven't gotten your ticket yet, go get your ticket.
Can you tell us more about the summit, Mark? What's happened?
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah. So we're still forming it, but there will be lots of content. So at all different levels. So if you're in Toolkit, Dirt Starter Kit, Flight School, you'll have content just for you. If you're in Coaching or Unfair Advantage, you'll have advanced content just for you. And if you've never heard of land investing, you can buy a ticket and learn at the Dirt Rich Summit. And then we're going to have networking with everybody at every different level. There's going to be masterminding. There's going to be speakers and sponsors. It's going to be Bossman and Zano and John Burnett are going to be there. Like, the celebrities will be there. You get to meet them. It's going to be amazing.
Scott's going to be signing grit shirts. It'll be great.
Yeah, signing grit shirts. So live events change lives.
I would agree with that.
November.
I still agree. Live events change lives. That's where I met you, Mark. And I went into that weekend pretty skeptical. I sat there all weekend. Sat there like this. But I was this is my thinking pose. But I've realized now that that's not good body language. So
it was very frightening. And thank God for Aaron, his wife. Because Scott's a big dude. I don't know if you guys can tell how big he is, but he's a big, intimidating guy sitting there like this. And I'm thinking to myself, is this resonating? Like, oh no. But it was great.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it's crazy. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I've been to an obscene amount of live events, just for my own choice and for my own business. But it's crazy. Like, I think for me, like the first live event I went to, I think effectively saved my business. And then
Oh wow.
I just kept coming ever since. Yeah, I was really burning out. I was a good chunk in, and I just hadn't delegated anything. And so we did the big circle, and we all gave our pain points, and then we all gave advice to each other. And one by one, everybody just lambasted me and was like, "You need to delegate, John. You need to delegate, John." And then I had an intake manager by the, within a week, and everything changed. But it's just so energizing. It's so energizing to be around people that are going through what you're going through. And man, like I've got so many good friendships out of that. I've got people I meet with every week. I've got people I've been meeting with every week for more than 6 years, just out of these events. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, the community is amazing, and really, like our last coaching live, I said this to the room, like there's not one person in this room, and there's like 70 people in the room. There's not one of them that didn't pass the airport test. Like if I was stuck in an airport with them, I would have been just fine. Like just really good people. And there's some big hitters in that room. I mean, people making, 40, 50, 60,000 a month of passive income. You would have no idea. They are not, sitting on their passive income perch looking down at you. Like they're there to help and share and give, and they want you to succeed as well. And it's great. And just, it's rare to be in a room like that. Don Thrasher. What's Don saying?
Well,
Don!
So Don, do you know Don, John?
I know Don. Hi, Don.
Nice.
It's good to have you here.
Yeah. Welcome, Don. So Don is a great question. We obviously need to reinvest in more purchases with the cash flow we create. At what point do we start to pay ourselves?
Oh, Don, you never pay for yourself. This is that kind of business, man. You just keep compounding and growing, paying taxes and die. Congratulations. It's a great business.
Oh,
No, it's a
man.
really good question. It's a really good question. Let's go through the math. John, should I just put you on the spot on this, or
Why am I the math person all of a sudden? I want to be the feelings person. I'll give the
you want me to be the
feelings.
feelings person?
Scott
All right,
does
Scott,
the
you're gonna do the
math. I'll
math.
do
I
it.
can do the math. Whoever wants to do it.
Well, I think we get into some of this number stuff in our different trainings, right? It's a lot to go over in just a few minutes. But number one, everybody's situation is different, right? Like some people getting into this, they maybe have a corporate job and they maybe make a really great living, but they're tired and they want out in 3 years. So they start this and they can grow it quickly without pulling any money out. Maybe they don't need to pull any money out. And if you don't need to pull any money out of your business, you can grow it quickly and then start pulling from it later. Like last week we were talking about, maybe create a personal pension fund for yourself, right? With this business. Other people like myself, I was more in the rat race with debt and bills and lots of kids and things I needed to pay off and not a very good salary. So as I went forward, looking back, I wish I would have had more of a systematic approach to it. But if I got a cash deal, I'd pay myself a little bonus, right? Um, I wanted to grow that passive income nest egg, but if I made 5 grand cash on a property, I was paying myself maybe 40% of that, and putting the rest back toward buying more land, uh, toward taxes, that type of thing. I think 40% is a good number that people kind of rely on as they grow their businesses. So if you're bringing in, 20,000 a month passive, you can pay yourself 8 per month. But then maybe a little bit more on top of it when you get a cash deal. And some of the cash deals, they can be quite life changing. When you do that first deal, I mean, the first deal where you buy for 1 and sell for 5, that's exciting. But John, I know you all the time. Like every week, I'm talking to you. I bought for 5, sold for 20. Right? Like those deals are
Crazy.
phenomenal. So, and that again comes with the consistency. If you're consistent and you mail, you're going to find these deals. And if you're consistent and you market, you're going to sell for cash 20% of the time.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I like
absolutely.
that too. Like, sorry, Mark, you
No,
have
go
a
ahead.
better thing to say. I know.
No, I don't. I don't. I don't know what you're going to say. You might say the most profound thing ever.
We'll find out. But I think it's important to not pay yourself too late. Like there's something
Mhm.
psychologically beneficial about just pulling money, like benefiting personally
Yeah.
from your business. And if you like, it's easy to burn out if you're taking 3 4 years and you've never taken a penny out of your business. It can kind of feel like monopoly money, right? It's like this thing that I'm building, but like
Hmm.
it's not really like benefiting you personally in your personal life. And so I think that it is important to pay yourself just to stay motivated, to feel the wins, and just to start experiencing the benefit that you've actually created.
Yeah, I love that. And Don, I would pick up Profit First by Mike McAllowitz as well. It's gonna kind of walk you through every business, whether it's a land business or any other business that you would want to start, and how to sort of allocate your cash flow into these different buckets. So you've got your OpEx bucket, which will be a certain percentage. You've got your tax bucket. You got to pay the IRS as you make a profit. You've got your payroll bucket, so that's what you're going to pay, and you have your profit bucket. And so, of course, you're going to pay your profit first, and then you go in and you have these percentages, and then as you grow and you change, you're going to have a bigger profit percentage once you start using other people's money as well, because you're actually reinvesting all of your profit back into more land. But what if you were taking investor money and using that for more land? Now you're putting fuel on that fire in that machine. Now, that's really where you want to get to. But obviously, when you first start, you've got to build the machine to a point. You have to get enough deals and a track record to attract investor money, number one, or maybe you can go out and do debt in various ways. You can do a home equity line of credit. You can, uh, do a family debt deal where they'll let you borrow it, 8 to 12%. And you can structure it that way. But you're playing that cash flow game so that you're able to keep pouring more fuel onto the land fire, if you will, and keep growing in your note portfolio, which then as you grow your note portfolio, you have even more flexibility as far as financing and getting in the math of that, because then you can sell your note, a partial or a full note, to another investor, take that cash and reinvest it, and also pay yourself as well. So that's sort of a long answer, Don, but hopefully it's a satisfying one, I hope.
Very satisfying. We step away. We always have book recommendations on the call, and there's your book recommendation for tonight.
There you go. There you go.
There you
It's a
go.
classic. It's a classic.
It's classic.
It's a classic.
It is classic.
It's one of those awkward silences where I see the orange banner and like we're all reading it, and then it's like, okay, now do we talk about? We've done the math. We've answered some questions. Dear listener, you got to ask us some more questions. Like, otherwise we're going to have to pivot into something else. Off topic, maybe. I don't know. I don't want to go off topic. Maybe I will a little bit.
I mean, it never hurts to go off topic.
Never hurts
I mean,
to go.
sometimes hurts maybe, but yeah, people are quiet. Well, wait, we got a new comment. Let's see what it is. Oh, nothing. No question, just a comment. Darren said, Mark, have you read this book, or have you heard of T. Harv Ecker's Money Jars? I've never heard of.
I've heard of T. Harv Eker,
okay,
but not the money jars.
Sounds similar to Profit First.
It sounds familiar, yeah, the Profit First. But I mean, I can tell you when I first started land investing, if you guys haven't read, and this is a shameless plug, Dirt Rich, I talk about my story. I had Parkinson's law of money. So the more money I made, the more money I spent. And I created this huge lifestyle for myself. Don't do that.
Mhm.
Do the money jars or profit first, because inevitably something's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if it's going to be a great recession or if it's going to be tariffs or if it's going to be another pandemic, but there's going to be something that inevitably happens. And so you want to be prepared for that, for sure.
Mm.
I had to learn the hard way, but you don't have to.
No, I love that. Yeah, I think that's one of the one of the most your money mindset module at our live boot camps is always really motivating, Mark, because you take us through that journey, right? And that's another thing I think we should just remind people of is we do have a live boot camp coming up, a virtual boot camp coming up, June 5th, 6th, and 7th.
That's right. That's right. If you haven't registered, register ASAP.
And you register by going
even those
to
virtual boot camps are great because we do those breakout rooms and you get to meet people even virtually. So the
virtual boot camp.
great, the learning's great.
3 days, 3 days of content and learning and proof that this works.
Yeah.
It's not just these three yahoos on here talking at you.
Exactly.
I like to. I mean, boot camp is like, it's very information heavy, and I still find like I come away with takeaways and action items, and I'm coming up on 8 years in to my business, right? And like, I mean, we bring in guest speakers, we do breakout sessions, we think about quarterly planning, we talk about the state of the market, what's working, what's not working. It's great. It's really, really good.
Yeah, and then I love the focus finder at the end where we take you through. It's like, okay, here's your next thing you should do after 3 days of all this content, and it's like, okay, now there's no ambiguity. This is what you tackle next.
Yeah.
And so you leave with so much momentum. After that boot camp, and I mean, there's always, even if you've been in 8 years, 10 years. There's always a gem in there because you're different. Your business is different. You take something away, and it's always valuable, for sure.
And there's always boot camp magic. There's always people doing deals, and we talk about those deals, which is motivating.
And we break down the deals. Like, how'd you get the deal? Right? What was your ad like? There's a lot there.
It's fun to see how that's evolved too, Mark. When we used to do the live weekends, 7, 8, 10 years ago, there'd be like one deal a day, right?
Right.
Now there's like 10 deals a day. It's crazy.
I know. It is crazy.
Yeah,
and
it's fun stuff.
It's so fun. Yeah, it's so funny. Like, COVID kind of changed everything. Like,
for sure.
We never thought of doing a virtual boot camp, but what we found is like more people can actually attend,
right,
and really benefit from it.
Yeah. Sorry, my dog is crying. Probably.
Wisdom equals learn from other people's pain, not directly from your own.
Yeah, it's true.
It's true. I wish I had some of that wisdom when I was younger.
I mean, it's good to learn from your own pain too, but I'd rather learn from other people's.
I'd rather learn from other people's pain for sure. It's interesting because, like, if you have teenagers or young kids, like, they don't have, like, they have to go through the pain, I think. To really learn the lesson. I could be wrong. Maybe it depends on the kid, but I might be projecting. I know for myself, it's like,
I mean, for my 6 kids,
I just didn't listen.
Yeah, I mean, I've got 6, you've got 4, so that's 10, and I agree with you for all of my kids.
Yeah,
they're very little though.
Just give them 10 years, John, and then lots happens. Lots happens in those late teenage years.
Yeah,
for sure.
But, like, Would it be great if we could just read like a biography a day and just learn from other people's life stories and
Yeah.
and get the wisdom and all the lessons? And
You
then be
can,
like,
Mark.
okay, you can absolutely can, but I just think like for whatever reason,
Yeah, but John's got
we
a whole
don't do
thing
it.
for this, Mark. John, he's getting smarter. He reads 5 books a day.
Yeah, you just ChatGPT. I'm like, I go on ChatGPT walks every day.
Okay,
You can just say like, yeah. So you tell it to be the author. You say, okay, you're the author of this book, and I want you to give me all the core principles of this book. And then if you're using ChatGPT and it's built a memory, or if it's built a memory base off of you and your situation and your business, you can then say, how would I then apply these principles into my life? And so then you move from a just absorbing the information into having effectively a Socratic dialogue back and forth. And so it actually internalizes more, and you can absorb a ton of information. It's crazy.
I mean, why don't we do that? Like
Yeah.
live. Let's do a whole Chat GPT session live.
Ooh,
I'd
that'd be
love to
fun.
see
Sounds
that in
great.
action.
Yeah.
That'd be so fun.
Yeah. That sounds good.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love ChatGPT for getting my thinking, my reasoning. I love it. I honestly love it. Like contracts. Like I'm saving so much money in contract review right now. It's crazy.
It's helping my parenting.
Is it helping with parenting? Tell me more.
It totally is helping my parenting. They're just every once in a while there's some situations that come across that, like, how do I handle this without, I don't know, I don't want to be overbearing, or I don't want to be, seem like.
Yeah.
So I'll go to ChatGPT and I'll explain the situation and say, hey, give me some some recommendations on how I communicate with this kid, and how I might give them advice on how to move forward with whatever issue they're dealing with. And it's honestly been really helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really helpful too if you tie that to a role. So if you say like, I want you to step into this particular role, like you're this person, and then I want you to speak as them into this specific situation. And I found it's really good at like at adopting that framework. It's pretty powerful.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. I kind of get a little scared that I'm going to forget how to think for myself.
Right.
Because I kind of default to it a little too much.
Yeah.
It's right there. It's like, well, you can just talk into it. And to your point, like you get really good at prompting it, and then it kind of knows you really well. And it's like, it just says like the smartest stuff. They're like, oh, it's so good.
It is.
Yeah.
It's so good. But
yeah,
what my fear is that I think that, and tell me if you think I'm wrong, we're all kind of making it up as we go along. Like Steve Jobs was kind of making it up too. And, all like these really great figures, right? Like they were great at certain things, but at other things, like they were just like, like no one's perfect. Right. And so I always sort of hesitate, like when, I want to be, as smart as that person that I admire in this situation. But also know, like, no situation is exactly the same. And even they couldn't tell you why they're successful. Like they don't know. And there's so many different things that go into it. I really just think that it's in the doing. It's in the experiencing it. And and most of the time we're making mistakes. And it's just like, to Scott's shirt, right? It's just that grit to keep going. And I think ChatGPT might be helpful in having that resilience and that grit, in giving you sort of that wisdom and that knowledge, and unlocking certain parts that maybe you're not as strong in, to help you. But ultimately, ChatGPT is not going to make your offers. ChatGPT is not going to close a deal for you. ChatGPT is not going to manage your VA team. ChatGPT will do the math of what we're talking about for sure, which is super cool. So it's just going to save you time, but it's not going to do the thing that you need to do.
Mhm.
It's also not going to. It's also not going to cannibalize this business.
No, it's
Right?
not going to cannibalize this business.
Yeah.
I know it's crazy. Like I've talked to folks about that. Like it's really disrupted a lot of industries, right? There are whole industries and whole professions that have effectively just been made redundant by AI in the last 5 years. Like it's crazy. But yeah, you get, I mean, in a business like this, like you're not going to sell your land to a computer, right? Like
Right.
there's an element of trust and relationship that is required that, there's a lot that we could delegate to AI. Like it's really powerful in, I think, supercharging our business, but there are elements that cannot be effectively delegated to a computer,
Right. Right. And I do think there is something to be said about being with other people in business.
Mm.
Ray Dalio has that great phrase of meaningful work and meaningful relationships. Well, I want to have meaningful work and meaningful relationships, but if I fire my whole team and make them AI bots, those meaningful relationships are gone, essentially.
Mm.
And I'd rather have the people that work with me using AI to supercharge them.
Yeah.
And we can all sort of grow our businesses together. For sure. And do that. I don't know. I just think it'd be lonely to have this sort of one man, one woman, one person business.
I agree, and I think it's going to provide a lot of momentum to this community. So I think, you know, um, John and I have a unique perspective because we started 8 to 10 years ago. Things were just a little bit slower back then, right? Um, Now the training is better, the systems are better, we're delegating better, we're doing all things better. But now we're on the forefront of AI in this business. So I'm excited to see what's going to happen in 10 years. Like I think people are going to get to bring it back to our original topic of 10,000 a month passive. I think people are going to get to 10,000 a month passive now faster than they ever have because we are going to be able to supercharge with AI. We are going to be able to leverage AI in our business, in creating processes, in training our VAs, in teaching them how to use ChatGPT in our business so we don't have to do it. It's going to go so much faster now than it did even in the last few years. And I think, Mark, you talked earlier about how Try and Quinn got to 10,000 a month passive in a year. Kim Sumner got to 10,000 a month passive in a year. We're going to see that more and more and more now. I have no doubt.
I agree. And I just think it is the great accelerant of everything. And I'm really bullish on it. I think it could be the greatest thing that we've ever seen in humanity and the abundance it's going to create. But to your point, like we have to do it.
Yeah.
Right. You have to learn it. You can't put your head in the sand. And as an entrepreneur, it is part of your SWOT analysis. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What are the opportunities? What are the threats? And really have that Wayne Gretzky, right? That quote, I don't go where the puck is, I go where the puck is going. And we need to go where that puck is going as land entrepreneurs. And definitely embracing ChatGPT and just making us and our team so much more effective than they are today.
Yeah, I think it's like a really effective mentor, right? Like you can have an amazing mentor and not do a dang thing, right? Like, you get all the advice, but you don't actually take the action. And I mean, I've been using AI a lot for just planning for my company and just, processing kind of where things are at in the company, what needs attention, what doesn't, all those types of things, setting company direction. But then I have to do it, right? Otherwise, it just
Right.
nothing actually happens. But and I like what you said, Mark, about like it's not like I think that AI is pretty augmentative, like used effectively. It just it enable. It's like you're given a superpower, right? Like you're able to do a lot more, a lot faster. And I like the idea. Like I mean, I'm training my team on AI. Like let's talk about prompting. Let's talk about all these different things that you can use effectively, and then they're then able to utilize that in their own individual roles, you know, and so it compounds right across the business.
No, 100%. And now there's those custom GPTs. You can see what other people have built and test it for yourself. So you don't even need to go down the rabbit hole yourself if you don't want to and do that. So I don't know how we went from the math of $10,000 a month passive income in land to AI and all the benefits, but that's the great thing about Nightcap. You know, you get John and Scott a few drinks, and who knows where it goes.
We just rap, and yeah, I mean, we singing songs here before you know it.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
I think so. Next week we've come up on an hour here, but I think next week we're gonna have a Land Geek spotlight. So we're gonna interview another successful Land Geek client, like we did a few weeks ago with Robert Belcher. So stay tuned for that. I don't know who it is yet.
Now I'm not going to be there.
Oh,
do you guys know where I'm going to be?
No. Sleep retreat, darkness retreat.
Dark retreat. Sleep retreat sounds awesome. I want to go.
I have a feeling I will be sleeping quite a bit.
Yeah. Darkness retreat. Sorry,
the darkness retreat. Yeah. It's so funny. Like everyone, I'm like, it's so great. You just get to be. And it's such a great break from life, and you get all these, you know, benefits from it. No one I've told is like, yes, I want to spend a week in the dark. No one. Why?
I think you are an anomaly there, Mark. I think you are.
That's what my mom said. She's like, I don't know where you came from. She's like, you're like an alien. I'm like, Mom, I came from you.
Do you bump into things a lot? Do you come back with bruises?
Yeah. So you gotta walk gingerly in the room. Okay. You kind of learn the room. And I'm like 10 steps to the bathroom. You know, you gotta kind of maneuver around, and you know, you can feel on the floor. Like there's you learn it. You learn the dark real fast. Yeah, and then you know, it's kind of fun. Like, you know, you don't know what you're gonna eat, but you open it up, you kind of smell it, you touch it, like, oh, okay, right? And like in the shapes, like, because it's always sort of the same thing each day, so you know by the shape of the container what it's going to be. And I'll tell you what, food in the dark, because think about it, you got nothing to do. I mean, I remember maybe it was day 4, day 5. I took 30 minutes to eat a hard-boiled egg. Like, you just savor it, like every little bite, and you know, because there's nothing to do except be. So eating is the best.
Yeah. What is the moment when the retreat ends? Do they just turn on the lights? What is it?
No, so you got your darkness Sherpa, and they say, okay, we're gonna take you out. You put on a what's it called? Sleep mask, right? And they guide you out, and you're in the middle of Oregon, this beautiful forest. If you're a land person, you'll love it. And then they have a camera. You sit on a chair, they have a camera, and you open the mask, and you know, who knows how long it's been since you've seen light. And you see light for the first time, and you get real emotional, and you see the beauty, and you're talking in front of it. It's great marketing. So if you go to skycaveretreats.com, you can see on YouTube these videos of people coming out of the darkness, and it's really great.
Wow.
And again, I say that, and no one will sign up.
Well, maybe someday.
Exactly. Yeah, I know you're not going to do it. I mean, like,
Oh, now okay. Now, I mean, if you
Yeah.
challenge me, I
I
might.
triple dog dare you.
Okay. All right. I'll consider it.
Okay.
All right. That was very nice, Darren. Let's end on this. What a nice guy. Never a
Thank you,
waste
Darren.
to spend Tuesday nights with us. So awesome. Thank you, sir.
Darren's the best.
Awesome.
Thank you, Darren.
Darren, we'll meet you in November, and the rest of you guys, we'll see you next week for a Land Geek Spotlight. Matt, Mark, we'll wing it without you.
I'll miss you guys.
I
Let's
miss you too.
Miss you too.
freedom.
Freedom
Ring.
ring.
Good night,
Oh.
everybody.
Good night.